here we go. The second game of this second round South Regional. Number 4 Tennessee seed against number 5 seed Connecticut. Connecticut, the defending national champions. Yarbrough, Black. Isaiah Victor takes it in. Jake Bosco rebounds for Connecticut. And here's the man they're all watching. How healthy will he be? Limping somewhat, Elamine, as he came into the forecourt. Kevin Freeman, Albert Mooring, and now Elamine. Mooring for 3. Rebound, Victor, Tennessee. Victor, Yarbrough, Black, Higgins, and Harris, who shoots and scores a 2. And Tennessee takes the first lead.
And that's something you don't want to see if you're Connecticut. Tony Harris coming out, shooting the ball well, knocking down his first shot. When he hits his shots, Tennessee has a successful record.
Bosco double teamed in that zone, and he finds the open man, Kevin Freeman. It's tied at 2.
High percentage shot. Tennessee gambling a little bit on defense. Freeman able to find the backdoor move.
Winner of this game to meet surprising North Carolina. Upset winner earlier against Stanford, the number 1 seed here in the South. Harris. Back out to Higgins. So Bosco came out to challenge. Victor almost threw it away to Yarbrough. 6 on the shot clock. Harris getting ready to go up with it. Now it's going to be Higgins for 3. Well off the mark, and Elamine with position, couldn't jump, but able to collect the rebound.
Well, just his leadership and his presence on the floor means a little bit. He may not be 100%, but for his teammates to have him on the floor, that means a little bit, a lot actually, in confidence department.
Outside weave used by the Huskies. Down to 10 on the clock. Elamine, Harris on him. Voskuhl with 4. Deng with 2. And the rebound high, Yarbrough for Tennessee. It's tied at 2. 2 minutes gone.
And off of the pick and roll, Voskuhl has got to look for his shot. He's got to be more aggressive to compensate for some of the offense that may not be coming from Elamine.
Mooring on a long pass from Elamine, and Connecticut has the lead 4-2.
Well, Mooring is a guy that must pick it up. He had 14 points in the last game, 4 of 10, but really didn't get things behind the arc like he can. Only 1 of 3 from three-point land.
Higgins for another 3-point attempt, and he hits this one, and John Higgins gives Tennessee a 5-4 lead.
Higgins has been allowed to roam a little bit more freer. He shares the point guard responsibilities, but from the 2, he's a scorer.
Deng against Yarbrough, good pass underneath. Off the forehead of Mooring on the carom and out of bounds to Tennessee. 3:15 into this first half, and Tennessee with the ball and a 5-4 advantage. Mooring is on the quick Tony Harris defensively, and Elamine playing against Higgins. Harris can't hit from the corner. Voskuhl sweeps the board. Be interesting to see just how long Elamine can go. He fires from outside, not there. Rebound Tennessee. Here comes Harris. And Yarbrough way outside. Voskuhl has another rebound.
A lot of time on that shot clock to look for that three-pointer right away. Not really in rhythm, wasn't set. Got to explore the inside and work outward.
And a hold called inside. And the first whistle. And the foul on Tony Harris, his first, and we have a timeout. 15:50 remaining in this first half. And the early lead goes to Tennessee. Back in Birmingham with Tennessee leading 5-4. Connecticut ball. And Khalid El-Amin, the point guard for the Huskies, is now being rested. Tony Robertson with the ball now, number 32. Lightning quick freshman for the UConn team. Harris on Robertson.
Robertson has had his moments. He's had some big games.
Freeman over the back. That'll be his first. Kevin Freeman with a foul for Connecticut. And here comes Edmund Saunders. He's going to replace Anjo Deng, the UConn lineup of Jim Calhoun.
Jim Calhoun giving Anjo Deng an earful. He didn't like the missed assignment. He's letting him hear about it.
All SEC guard Tony Harris with the ball for Tennessee's Volunteers.
And Connecticut in the zone. This is where Harris does an excellent job of finding the gaps for penetration.
Higgins. Harris on this wing and then down to Yarbrough, and he's going to fire from long range. Gets a high bounce and a three for Vincent Yarbrough. His first points, and Tennessee leads 8-4.
Raindrops came down with that one.
That took an unusual bounce. You don't get many of those criers. Robertson very fast, but can't hit the flyer. Voskuhl, though, battles and gains the rebound for UConn.
I really believe if Robinson exerts himself and drives to the hole more, he's a scorer that can really give Connecticut a big boost in the absence of Khalid El-Amin.
Still fighting, gets another loose ball for UConn. Freeman misses two short jumpers in that sequence, and Tennessee's Harris flying to the offensive end. C.J. Black, he'll pump from outside, and Voskuhl another board. He has 5 rebounds in the first 6 minutes of the game.
Very important not to give up second shots. Connecticut, a stronger ball club, but well matched in size with Tennessee.
Connecticut playing without El-Amin, their
Beautiful,
point guard.
beautiful drive.
Albert Mooring works his way free. He has 4, and Tennessee's lead is carved to 8-6.
They ran the curl play on that particular possession, and Warren did an excellent job of continuing the drive down the paint for a layup.
Good passing, Isaiah Victor, and he is fouled. Victor, the 6'9" junior from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, goes to the line. And Voskuhl with his first foul.
Connecticut foul on number 43.
And Isaiah Victor, could be the best inside scorer for Tennessee. He's more of a finesse player with quick moves, doesn't defend well, but very active on the offensive end and can create some mismatch problems, because with his height, he can play power forward, small forward, a little bit of two guard.
Suleiman Wan goes in for Voskuhl, and Charles Hathaway replaces C.J. Black inside for Tennessee. Victor rattles in 1 out of 2, and Tennessee leads 9-6 with 13 minutes and change. And here's Ron Slay. He was the star of the Tennessee victory on Friday night.
And the crowd really responds to the emotional leader on this team. He's the most emotional guy. Got a rebound, took it coast to coast, really ignited the fans and his ball club.
Without El-Amin running the show, it's kind of a team leadership being experienced, as Saunders, a tough turnaround 12-footer, has his first bucket, and it's a 9-8 game.
Saunders has really found his game. He's not a great scorer, but with his body has the ability to score inside with the little 8-footers.
Yarbrough well short, and here's Connecticut with a chance for the lead. 12.5 to go, first half. The winner meets North Carolina in the Sweet 16. Down to 10. Robertson, a freshman point guard, at 5, going to take it himself. And the rebound to Hathaway, the 6'10" junior from Nashville.
Very hard to beat Tony Harris off of the ISO.
Harris for three. He's got it. 12-8 Tennessee. Harris with 5.
Nobody contesting the shot. Point guard passing and floating to the perimeter. Someone has to stay really close to Tony Harris, a streaky shooter.
Saunders powering inside and has it knocked away. Here it comes. Ron Slay. And Harris for 3 more. Rebound. Mooring 2-on-1. He'll take it himself.
Should have given it up, but nevertheless, Mooring, a pure shooter, knocks it down from 4 feet.
He leads Connecticut early with 6 points. A 2-point game, Tennessee.
But Slay, the ability to grab the rebound and start your fast break really takes some pressure off of Harris. Plus, it gets the ball out in front of the defense early.
Harris running into big Suleiman Wan and out of bounds to Tennessee. As Doug Wren comes into the Connecticut lineup. And time is called. 11 minutes remaining in this first half. Tennessee 12, Connecticut 10.
Connecticut sends to number 50, Marcus Cox. Timeout.
Back in Birmingham, where Tennessee with the early lead 12-10 against the reigning national champions, the Connecticut Huskies. 11 minutes remaining in the first half, and there's the star point guard for Connecticut. He was the top dog leading his team to the title last year, but with less than 4 minutes to go on Friday night, watch the right ankle. He makes the quick move and comes up with a high ankle sprain. And treatment, furious treatment for the last 2 days. He started today, did El-Amin, but was not at full strength, and after a couple of minutes was rested, and Tony Robertson, a freshman point guard, has replaced El-Amin. How critical is that, James Worthy?
Well, on offense, it's easy to dictate what direction you want to go in or how you want to shoot the ball. But on defense, when you have to spontaneously react, it's very difficult. I've had that injury several times, and I'd be amazed if Khalid El-Amin could make an impact. Right now, he's deciding whether he could help his team or whether he's doing more damage by being in the ball game. A tough decision for Coach Calhoun.
Yeah, and that's a tough role for him to be a cheerleader. He's in 3 years. This junior El-Amin from Minneapolis has led Connecticut to 91 wins. He is the boss. You can see the Minnesota tattoo on his left arm.
And the thing is, you wonder if Connecticut can beat Tennessee without him, and you must give him some rest. Over the top.
I didn't think Yarbrough could get up that high. It appeared the pass was too tall, but oh my, was he flying. Yarbrough with 5. It's a 14-10 Tennessee lead.
And there must have been a mini trampoline down there somewhere in the floor that we don't see, because he was up there with the shot clock, it seems.
Saunders, Suleiman Wan, Albert Mooring, Kevin Freeman, and Tony Robertson on the floor for Connecticut. Here's Robertson, and he's knocked away by Harris. 2-on-1.
Here comes another one.
And Harris fouled as Robertson stops the break.
Well, I thought Tony Harris would give that one up, but look at the pass to Yarbrough over the top, coming down out of the sky over Saunders. You're not going to get a higher percentage shot than that one.
Albert Mooring committed the foul, his first for Connecticut, and to the line goes Tony Harris, the junior from Memphis, who scored just under 15 a game on the regular season. A Wooden Award candidate. All Southeastern Conference first team.
Connecticut takes in
Comes Jake Voskuhl as the starting center returns.
number 32.
Also returning is Doug Wren, the 6'6" forward, and Tony Robertson at guard.
Tennessee sends in number 31.
Well, Connecticut's really going to have several combinations. Wren, obviously a player that can score, but they really are missing a true ball handler. With all due respect to Robertson, they're just a little bit out of sync in finding players.
Tony Harris, a good free throw shooter, misses both. Mooring, Robertson, Saunders had the 15-footer, passes it up. Wren, Robertson for 3. Didn't hit the iron. Rebound, Ron Slay. 14-10 Tennessee, just under 10 minutes to go in this opening half. North Carolina, their fans celebrating a big upset earlier of top seed Stanford. And the winner to meet The Tar Heels on Friday, and travel is the call against Big Charles Hathaway on the post for Tennessee.
Yeah, Hathaway did a hop, skip, and jump before he put it on the floor.
Jerry Green, 56 years of age, in his third season at Tennessee, has the winningest season ever for the Vols, 25. And Khalid El-Amin is back on the floor for Connecticut.
Going to give it one more try. Tested it earlier. We saw him limping somewhat, but he's not handling the ball now. So let's see how they try to utilize Khalid El-Amin.
So they leave Tony Robertson, the freshman guard, on the court with El-Amin. And there's another pick. The steal was by Harris. Walker, and he sets up Tony Harris, who at 6 feet can get up there in the clouds. And it's 16-10. Volunteers and a timeout.
Well, no ball handler, turnover. Tony Harris makes him pay.
Welcome back to Birmingham, everyone, where Tennessee has a 6-point lead over UConn. Before the game, I talked to Joe Sharp, the trainer for UConn, and he told me he has a standard tape job around the ankle of Khalid El-Amin. Now, what he does have that's a little bit different is what we call a horseshoe device. It's designed to wrap around the ankle and to prevent it from rolling over this way. But to be effective, it has to be wrapped tightly. The problem with that, it causes restriction in blood flow, which causes the leg to fatigue. El-Amin lasted 4 minutes and 10 seconds before. Now he's back in the game.
All right, thanks, Spencer Tillman. Dick Enberg, James Worthy at courtside, where Tennessee leading by 6, their biggest lead. Robertson, the freshman, is handling the ball at the point with El-Amin playing the off guard. Trying to take it inside, and Walker almost ripping it away, and Woods deflects it out of bounds. Terrence Woods, the freshman from Memphis. Good defense by the Vols.
Well, Khalid El-Amin's got to be feeling the pain and thinking about it. No elevation on that pass out. Was blocked, almost a turnover.
11 minutes have been played, and the reigning national champions have only 10 points in that 11 minutes. Two teams have never played before in men's basketball, Connecticut and Tennessee, although they are number 1, number 2, the hottest of rivals in the women's basketball ranks. Vincent Yarbrough picks up the foul, his first, as Mooring returns and Robertson out. And this then the starting lineup on the floor for Connecticut. Voskuhl, Saunders, Mooring, El-Amin. And now Mooring for 3. You saw that graphic. Tennessee has made it to the Sweet 16, but that was back when the field was only 32 and they had to win only 1 game. They've never won, that's remarkable, more than 2 games in a tournament season. Walker, Slay bullying his way in, and he is clobbered, no foul. And here comes Saunders the other way.
Blake Voskuhl has done a pretty good job of holding down the middle inside. He needs to insert himself on the offensive end.
And the foul will be against number 43, C.J. Black of Tennessee, blocking out on Voskuhl. Cornelius Jermaine Black from Chattanooga. And Voskuhl watches El-Amin set up out of bounds. No, now Voskuhl himself will trigger it in. UConn and Tennessee each with 3 team fouls. Officials have let them play.
And it doesn't appear that El-Amin's going to be effective as much on the offensive end, so you have to go inside to Voskuhl, who has a slight height advantage over Black.
Voskuhl at 6'11", and Black is 6'8". Kevin Freeman maneuvering for the 10-footer, and it's 16-12 on Freeman's 4th point.
Freeman, a strong athlete that has the ability to just jump right over you. A strong lower body. They need his production this afternoon.
Black, and he was fouled, either Deng in front or Voskuhl over the back, and it's going to be Voskuhl, his 2nd.
Connecticut foul on number 43, Jake Voskuhl.
Well, both Black and Slay for Tennessee have great pump fakes inside. They also have pretty good footwork, step throughs, up and unders, and they really draw the foul inside, as Black did versus Voskuhl too. We should have Solomon Wayne coming in for Voskuhl.
Black, who says that when he He schooled he wants to own his own hotel, and then when he became a starter, Black said resort hotel is what he was shooting for.
How quickly they think.
Think up. Now the second for Black, a 68% free throw shooter, and with that, a timeout. 7.5 minutes left in this opening half. Tennessee by 5. Back in Birmingham, the Magic City, with a Payne Weber game summary, and the key here, the three-point field goal attempts. The Huskies shut out 0 for 5, while Tennessee with 3 trays. The difference in the game, 5 points, 17-12, the Volunteers. And Elamine back on the bench for Connecticut. And one wonders if this will continue. Play 3-4 minutes, sit out 3 or 4 minutes, or whether he'll finally say, hey, I can't go, and Connecticut works without him.
I really think Coach Calhoun's going to have to make a decision, because it's really disruptive to Robertson, who really needs an opportunity to get lathered up and flow. Elamine not effective at all. You might want to consider letting the healthy players play the game.
You saw Robertson's quickness there with Harris badgering him defensively. Mooring becomes more and more crucial with his excellent outside, the perimeter shooting. Their top three-point man, Deng inside. Actually, Juan feeding Deng, and Deng rejected. Ron Slay brings it up. That's a sleigh bell down underneath there.
Not since Christmas has there been a sleigh riding down that hard to block the shot.
And he goes coast to coast with that sleigh. Mooring. Yeah, he's a wonderful shooter. 17 to 15 as Mooring connects on his specialty.
And it will be nothing wrong with Mooring handling the ball and ISO in one-on-one, particularly since Tennessee is going to stay in this man-to-man.
Slay outside. Yarbrough trying to penetrate. Good pass inside to Slay, and the rebound, Juan of Connecticut. This is the freshman Robertson. He's from East Providence, Rhode Island.
Looking for Freeman off the pick. It'll be Mourning on the other side.
Freeman takes it in and scores. No basket. Charging goes against Freeman, his second foul. That's a costly second foul, and to lose the 2 that would have tied the game.
And that's why Slay is such an emotional player. He does everything. Watch him step up, plant his feet, get the charge. 2 fouls on Freeman. He has to leave the game.
And Edmund Saunders, Doug Wren return for Connecticut. Wren is 6'6", a freshman from Seattle. Saunders 6'8", junior. Voskuhl is out as well, so somewhat unfamiliar lineup. Good effort, however, by Wren to steal the ball from Harris and Slay. Chance for the lead for Connecticut on a 3. Juan deep inside against Slay. Well off the mark, but Saunders on the other side says, good pass, teammate. It's 17 all.
That's right. Juan says, hey, I wasn't shooting it, I was passing it.
Well, the Connecticut fans, a rare few here in Birmingham, have a chance to cheer. Yarbrough for 3. Yes.
And they've been waiting for him to explode. He had a great first half regular season, kind of slowed down, but the most versatile and talented player on this ball club for his size.
Doug Wren unfamiliar with handling it out there, and he turns it over. The 5th turnover for Connecticut in this half.
Very important for Connecticut to work the boards on the offensive end. There's Edmund Saunders, and then Yarbrough's jumper from the top of the key. He's been effective early in the game from downtown.
6'7" sophomore. He's only 18 years of age, from Cleveland, Tennessee. Yarbrough. 3-point lead for the Vols.
Tennessee allowing Connecticut to hang around. They haven't been able to get Tony Harris out on the transition game.
Robertson taking the bait on Higgins' fake. And for Connecticut, that'll be their 6th team foul. Tennessee with only 3 here in the half. First foul, Robertson. New clock, less than 5 minutes left in this first half. Harris for 2. Short, misses all, and Saunders sends Connecticut the other way.
Gotta look for Mooring if you're Connecticut.
Juan and Slay battle inside, and there's Harris forcing the turnover, and Slay likes to go all the way and gets the bounce.
Sleigh bells are ringing here.
15 points for Slay to lead Tennessee on Friday, and a carryover and another turn over by Connecticut as Robertson a little too much on the carry. Volunteers' biggest lead here in this first half, 6 points. They now lead by 5, and El-Amin, the way he protects the ball, the way he runs the show, he's the engine, the motor of this Connecticut offense. He led them to the title a year ago, and they desperately miss his services. Higgins Mooring with the rebound.
Without El-Amin on the floor, Robertson's a good point guard. He's young freshman, but they're just a little bit out of sync, and it's very important to get your offense set up and structured properly and initiate it.
You got some big men like Juan coming outside and trying to make a tough one bounce pass all the way to the baseline.
People who aren't familiar with handling the ball, good move by Mooring. Didn't draw the foul.
Acrobatic rebound by Juan. Inside Cox, and he throws it away. So another freshman being used by Jim Calhoun, 6'4" Marcus Cox from Bridgeport, and UConn down by 5. Well, it's a season of incredible collegiate parity, and the Conseco tournament summary reflects that. First time since '92, top 3 seeds from the same region failed to make the Sweet 16. Arizona, St. John's, Oklahoma. We've lost the top 2 seeds here in the South in Stanford and Cincinnati, and the 2 number 1s out of the Pac-10 beaten by 2 number 8s. Now the seeding false leadership in that regard. Everyone's got a chance.
It really is deceiving, particularly with the parity throughout college basketball now. Players want to play. They're not really concerned about where they go. So you're finding schools that aren't dominant programs turning into pretty good basketball programs. Look at Gonzaga.
That's not a backcourt violation. You can play the ball in the backcourt in collegiate basketball. And so here comes UConn with 3.5 minutes to go in the half, trailing by 5.
Cox, a taller point guard with the ability to see over the defense, may be more effective in finding players like Mooring.
Tony Robertson, good spin move, can't hit the shot. Juan rips down the rebound, and it'll be goaltending on Isaiah Victor of Tennessee. Credit the basket to Suleiman Juan, his first points.
And Calhoun loving the effort of Juan on the offensive glass. Take a look at the effort by Juan, getting it, gathering it, going up. There's a goaltend.
Now team leadership with El-Amin off the floor for Connecticut.
And I really believe with El-Amin off the floor, this Connecticut team can concentrate on who they have out there and play a lot better.
John Higgins misses from 3-point range. Isaiah Victor hustles for the rebound. 2.5 to go in this first half. And Yarbrough able to connect on his tray. The second in this first half, comes back wearing a big smile, leads all scorers with 11. And Tennessee matches its biggest lead, and Saunders unable to hit the follow, and a foul.
There's Yarbrough on the 3. Look at the rotation. 6'8", great body, and he gives us a little smile. He wants me to put that on the straighter, but I don't think so. Great shot, though, Vincent.
Meanwhile, Tony Harris picks up his second foul for Tennessee, sending Saunders to the line. Edmund from Waterbury, Connecticut, the junior. It's going to be too long, and is. He's a 65% free throw shooter. Back comes Ron Slay for Tennessee, and Doug Wren in for Connecticut as Cox goes out. Slay replacing Yarbrough. Both coaches in the final 3 minutes using changes on timeout, getting the defensive player or offensive player as it would dictate into the game.
And it's amazing the absence of a star player, how you have to coach in different combinations that you have to use to compensate.
Now Deng, after Saunders makes 1 out of 2, Saunders rested, and Deng in for Connecticut. 25-20 Tennessee. Another low-scoring first half in tournament play.
Connecticut in the zone, trying to slow down the tempo somewhat. And a pretty good job of keeping it on the perimeter.
Under 2 minutes left in this first half. 9 on the shot clock. 7 Harris. He sees it with 5. He'll take the shot. No, he won't. Will not count as the whistle stops play with a foul outside. Doug Wren's first foul, and that will send Harris to the line. UConn over the limit. Only 4 fouls on Tennessee here in the opening half.
Number 14, Tony Harris going to line for Tennessee.
Tony Harris, a consensus high school All-America at Memphis East High School and the Tennessee Player of the Year in '97. When he's good, he is very good, but he's had some cold games that has been disturbing to Tennessee fans. You see in the postseason his numbers are down. Only 24% field goal shooting, 21% beyond the arc. So he's not produced in the big games, the SEC and NCAA tournament games. Hits both free throws here, and Tennessee has its biggest lead, 7. 1:45 to go.
Tennessee in a little half-court trap. Let's see what happens on the first pass. They're going to try to trap with Khalid Al-Amin out of the game. They want to pick the tempo up. Got Tony Harris in the baseline, but they left.
And Juan follows the missed shot by Doug Wren, and Juan with 4, both on inside play. 27-22 Tennessee with 1:15 to go in the half. Higgins for 3, down the bottom of the well, and it's 30-22 Tennessee. The Vols' biggest lead is 8.
Ron Higgins, a point guard himself, but at the 2 guard, he has the ability to roam the floor with Harris handling to open up for his shot.
Doug Wren, and he kicks it out of bounds. Another turnover, and the freshman asked to carry the load with Khalid El-Amin on the bench, and Robertson and Wren have not been able to do it, nor has Marcus Cox in his brief appearance in this game. 8 turnovers for the Huskies.
Wren trying to do a little bit too much, trying to force the issue, gather himself first, and then make a move. He's making the move before he even catches the ball at times.
About 10 seconds difference in shot clock, game clock. Harris getting a couple of rubs off a Slay screen. Inside to Slay, loose ball right into the arms of C.J. Black, and he has the easy lay-in and a 10-point ball lead.
Tony Harris so quick with the penetration inside.
Robertson, not a lot of time here. Takes it himself. Rebound Black. That'll be the end of the first half, and the Tennessee Volunteers and their fans salute a 10-point lead at the intermission. Khalid El-Amin, his injury, that badly sprained right ankle, certainly a factor in the performance of the defending champions in the opening half. Will Jim Calhoun find someone who can energize this Connecticut team without their leader? Spencer?
All right, Coach Green, a comfortable lead now, your largest of the game. What do you tell the troops coming back?
Well, I think the big thing is it's just a half of basketball, and we've got another half to play.
Very good. Congratulations. Good luck in the second half.
Well, that's succinct, and it's the end of the first half of the score. Tennessee 32, Connecticut 22. CBS exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Well, they were top dogs a year ago, the Huskies, but down by 10 at halftime. Let's go to Spencer Tillman.
All right, Coach, it kind of slipped away from you there near the end of the first half.
We're down 5 hoops, so right now I'm going to go back to the locker room.
But 10-point lead nonetheless. Bottom line is, what did you tell your players going in?
We can come back into it. We just made too many turnovers. We did a good job on the backboards, but they made 3-point shots, and we turned the ball over too many
What about
times.
Khalid? Will we see him this half?
He's going to give it one more try.
How's he feeling?
Well, he's going to give it one more try.
Fair enough, Coach.
Thank you.
You can imagine the frustration, James Worthy, as Jim Calhoun. I mean, here's the guy that for 3 seasons, he has been the total man. I mean, he is pushing all the switches. Now suddenly he's reduced to a half player.
Yeah, and that's very tough when it's your floor general in Khalid Al-Amin, because everything is out of sync. Robinson unable to get this team going. Only 1 assist the whole half for Connecticut, and that's just an example of how much they missed their floor leader.
1 assist in an entire 20 minutes and 8 turnovers. That tells you all you need to know if you've missed the first half. And Tennessee has shot well enough and played tough defense and lead by 10. The biggest lead of the game as we open the second half. This is Robertson at the point, the freshman. Kevin Freeman, and he throws it away. He anticipated Saunders moving out higher. And that's the problem. Everyone now is trying to generate the offense and be the leader, and you've got big men trying to make the pass.
You're absolutely right, Dick. And these guys are not accustomed to handling the ball. Good athletes, Friedman, Saunders, but they don't handle the ball. And another surprising thing, no shot attempts for Jake Boston in the first half.
C.J. Black inside to score, and he has 5 and a foul.
C.J. Black and Victor, along with Slay off the bench, don't have the height, but they definitely have the skills and footwork inside to get their shots off.
Well, on Edmund Saunders, his first for UConn. And here's Black, who had a string of 13 straight free throws going into this game. Missed one in the first half and misses here. Voskuhl rebounds.
Calhoun's going to come back with Al-Amin. He figures that at 70% he can at least take care of the basketball and not turn it over, so he'll be back in the game shortly.
Here again, Saunders playing out on the top of the key. Mooring having trouble as he's defended by Higgins. Harris takes the freshman Robertson. Quick guarding quick. 10 seconds on the clock. Into Voskuhl. Can't handle the pass. Here's Tennessee on the steal by Higgins. University of Tennessee have never won 2 games in the NCAA tournament. They have a sizable lead against the defending champion UConn Huskies. Oh, a miss of a short shot by Isaiah Victor that would have given the Vols a 14-point advantage. Robertson the other way for UConn. Mooring in the corner. Oh, they needed that one desperately. Did UConn. It's 34-25.
And UConn's going to have to do a lot more to try to find Mooring. They're trying to force him to handle the ball. That's not his position. He needs to be coming off some picks and setting up for the jumper.
Tony Harris not there, but Victor gets the offensive rebound. Tries to take it in, but travels. Khalid El-Amin, the point guard who has won 91 games in 3 years. He has led Connecticut to the victory, including the big one last year against Duke for the national championship. Sprained his ankle. Desperate to try to play. He has been ineffective thus far, but he's going to give it one more try. He was in and out twice in the first half.
A very bold statement last year prior to playing Duke. He said, we're going to shock the world, and they did just that. There's Jake Boston's first attempt, and it's good.
What a difference El-Amin makes. He sets up Voskuhl with an easy bank shot. It's 34-27. This is a courageous effort by El-Amin. You know he's not anywhere near 100%. Could barely warm up. What'll he do defensively? Moves underneath, tries to stop the drive of C.J. Black, but cannot help out. It's 36-27.
I got to tell you, Dick, at some point, Jerry Green is going to ISO El-Amin, and he's also going to post him up because he just cannot guard anybody with that sore ankle.
Saunders misses the jump hook, and Freeman comes down on the back of Yarbrough and picks up the foul.
Connecticut foul on number 33.
His third.
Kevin Freeman, his 3rd personal foul, 2nd team foul.
Calhoun takes Freeman out with 3. And Tony Robertson returns, so they lose considerable bulk in that exchange. Robertson, Mooring, and El-Amin, in essence, a 3-guard offense as Calhoun goes very small, along with Saunders and Voskuhl.
And Higgins way out on the perimeter. You might see some isolation on El-Amin.
Saunders gets a hand on it, but Yarbrough. And you see the advantage in height as Tennessee all over the boards. It's out of bounds to the Vols. 36-27. Jim Calhoun pacing the Connecticut sidelines, trying to find the formula, the chemistry that will work. Elamine is in there now. Even though he's hobbling around, he's able to set up on offense. A couple of good shots since he's returned.
Yeah, even at 65 or 70%, he knows how to take care of the basketball. Connecticut turned the ball over 9 times already with 1 assist, so having him in the game controlling the offense is better than nothing.
You can see him on defense. He's just skipping around. He can't run, so he just hops around trying to cover his man. And the travel against C.J. Black, and Connecticut goes the other way. Here comes Suleiman Juan back in for UConn.
Now here's what we're talking about on defense. What Elamine, you know, he cannot dictate where he wants to go. He's got to hobble. He's got to react to the defense, and that's where he's vulnerable. I'm shocked that Jerry Green has not tried to isolate or post Elamine up. He's hobbling.
Robertson now handling the ball. Elamine with Harris is so fast. He can smother you even when you are 100%. Good pass to Juan, and he's stripped by Yarbrough, and Slay comes up with it.
Well,
and then Juan ties up Slay, and the arrow points to Tennessee. Volunteer fans wanted a foul.
Well, Suleiman Juan, a good inside player. He could learn something from Brendan Haywood of North Carolina. And keeping that ball up inside, he brought it down, and that's what created the jump ball turnover.
Yarbrough with 11 points to lead Tennessee scoring.
And Higgins is really serving no purpose in the game against Elamine. He's just roaming and not trying to take it.
Slay takes it in on Voskuhl, and the rebound by Juan. 9-point deficit staring at the UConn Huskies, reigning national champions. Get it into Juan for a 15-footer, and that has to make that bench over at UConn side feel better, as Juan now with 6.
And he's assumed the role as the floor leader right now. He's talking, he's emotional, very active.
24-year-old senior from Senegal. Higgins inside, and the foul reaching around on Voskuhl.
Voskuhl with the cheap defense.
And that's his 3rd foul. So he and Freeman both with 3 with a timeout. Back with our data bank from Microsoft. Jim Calhoun was a little All-America at American International in Springfield. He's all New England, and he's the winningest coach in New England history, and the only man in Division I history to have won 250 games at 2 schools, Northeastern and UConn. Kind of man that, you know, when you're around him, you just say, wouldn't it have been fun to play for him? He has it all. He just has coach written all over him.
Yeah, he's a man's man. You just feel his presence when you're around him. A great coach and a great man as well.
Well, they call this the Magic City Birmingham, and Calhoun trying to wave the wand because with an injured star leader, Elamine, his team has trailed most of the game. And out of bounds it goes off the back of Ron Slay of Tennessee. And Connecticut with the ball. They trailed by as much as 12 points here in the second half. They've cut that lead to 7 and have another opportunity to whittle away at the ball advantage. Elamine with Harris. Robertson's got to do a little more with it than just stand there.
And that's the thing. He didn't know what to do when Elamine's on the floor.
Inside Ajo Deng, and he's way off the mark, high off the board, and Harris flying. And good job by Deng to get back and deter him. 14.5 minutes, plenty of time here. Game 2, drive and a charge against Tony Harris.
And that's 2 times in a row. The shot prior to that, he was way off balance, trying to draw the foul. That time he drove the ball right down into the teeth of the defense for the charge.
With the lead, Tennessee has been very generous with giving it up here in the last couple 3 minutes.
And you don't want to allow a team to stick around. They're already at the disadvantage with Elamine hurting, Voskuhl on the bench with no production hardly.
3 fouls, and Kevin Freeman with 3 fouls has returned. Connecticut shooting at 60% here in the second half. Tennessee only 1 out of 4. And from the side, it's Mooring. He's their sharpshooter, and now the lead is down to 5 at 36-31. 14 for Mooring to lead all scores.
And even with the injured Elamine, that's the difference. He's a little bit calmer. The team is a little bit more in sync when he's in there. He makes the right pass.
Harris inside, left alone, and scores. So the smallest man on the court, 6-foot Tony Harris, has 11.
Snuck in there on the back pick.
Elamine wants to go. He tries the 3 and hits it. Oh my, would this be a story if he can limp along and guide this team from a come from behind? 12 points, 38-34. Left alone.
And that's the problem right there, Dick. He could not fight the screen. He got one little fake and it left him very, very vulnerable. He was exposed by Higgins on that one.
John Higgins, who has 9 points on 3 3-pointers.
There's Elamine, a little drive and step back. And he has the strength, maybe not in the ankles, but the upper body strength is good as he knocks it down.
Ron Slay with his first foul for Tennessee. UConn with 3 team fouls. The Vols with 2 as Higgins, after hitting that 3-pointer, gets a breather. And Harris Walker, the freshman's in for the Vols. Elamine. Harris is so tough to work against. It's so quick, as you can see. Denying Elamine. On the clock.
Pull up, Robertson.
He heard you. Good effort by Juan, but he touched it last, and it'll be Tennessee heading the other way.
Robertson looks a little bit confused playing with Elamine. He really got to settle down and look for his shot now that Elamine is back at the point guard position.
Robertson, it's not as if he didn't score during the regular season. Off the bench, he averaged 7 a game. Charles Hathaway setting the pick, and Yarbrough makes his move and the reach in on Robertson, his second. Elamine, wonder if that might be it for him. He's got a heart as big as anyone in college basketball, this junior, and how much it must hurt not to be able to play up to his full capacity.
Well, it's a shame because Connecticut, after losing Hamilton and Moore, really did have a nucleus to advance in the tournament.
No foul inside, and Freeman picks up the loose ball. Harris thought he got hacked. Pained expression as he goes back on defense.
Well, referees recognize players when they're out of control, and it's very hard to get a foul call when they think you're out of control with the basketball.
Mooring for 3, and he misses everything but the backboard, and it's out of bounds to UConn. Tennessee fans don't like it, but the score is in their favor by 7. Dick Enberg, James Worthy, Spencer Tillman in Birmingham, Alabama, where the defending national champions, the UConn Huskies, with their star Khalid Elamine, hobbled by a badly sprained ankle on Friday night. He tried to play today, offered minimal contribution, and so if UConn is going to continue and defend their crown, someone's going to have to pick up the slack. There's only 4 on the shot clock. Now 2. The shot by Juan doesn't hit the basket, so there's the violation. Now they're going to call play back. Walker heading down court. Always confusing right at the buzzer when players all don't know quite how to react. That's the 12th turnover by UConn, and that just infuriates the head coach. You've got to believe that he told them there was just a short amount of time on the clock. And,
out of the timeout.
But they just didn't get the shot off.
I believe, I don't know this for sure, but I believe that Jerry Green has saw in Tony Harris that he's trying to force the issue a little too much. Took him out of the game, and now Walker, who's a better distributor of the ball, is in the game.
Higgins and Walker now playing in the backcourt. Here's Yarbrough. He's had a good game when he gets the ball. Forced that shot. And it's saved by Ron Slay, and he calls time as he was leaning out of bounds. 11:16 left in this second half, and Tennessee with a 7-point advantage. Thursday, the regionals. The madness continues here on CBS Sports with these regional semifinals doubleheaders. Check local listings for the games in your area right here on CBS Sports. Wisconsin and Gonzaga for you fans of the underdog have advanced as surprises in the Sweet 16. 11:15 left here. The winner to get North Carolina on Friday night, and a foul away from the ball. And it goes against Tennessee for an illegal pick. Charles Hathaway, his first. Now Tennessee seemingly to have everything in their favor, but they've wasted countless opportunities at the offensive end.
And this has been the story for Jerry Green's team all year. They have a lot of talent. They played well throughout the regular season, only to end up with a little slump toward the end. And they're a big game team, but I can imagine a bigger game than been in the NCAA tournament. They are allowing Connecticut to hang around.
The pass into one was deflected and out of bounds off one. A lot of individual effort by Tennessee, but at times the team concept seems to be lost. And with a lead, you would think they'd want to take a little better shot selection.
Well, they had some rhythm going. They had Yarbrough off early, C.J. Black and Slay, but all of a sudden Tony Harris decided that he wanted to take it upon himself and force the issue. Had a couple of turnovers, a charge, and a couple of bad shots. It's kept Connecticut in the game.
Yarbrough, and nice save by Yarbrough after he'd lost it. Slay, Walker, C.J. Black. And the rebound by Freeman, and the veteran Freeman, the senior from Springfield, Massachusetts, gets Connecticut going the other way. Doug Wren and Tony Robertson, two freshmen on the court now for UConn, with Mooring, Freeman, and Wan. You just can see they're looking around. No one quite knows exactly what Elamine would do in this situation. They're all trying to take over that role, but no one really picking it up.
And they're catching the ball in the threat area, but they're not doing anything with it, and they have not gone inside the red line.
They're about to run out of clock, and then the steal, and a terrific effort from behind by Robert Mooring, and then inside it goes to Vincent Yarbrough.
Now that was a pogo stick dunk.
Boy, he is a terrific athlete. Foul on Robertson will send Yarbrough to the line and a chance to regain that 10-point lead. I mean, he had players hanging all over him like a tree as he went up.
Rename him Yarbrough to Skybar because he's been all in the sky this afternoon. Tennessee needed a big bucket like that because they've been a little bit dead here the last 4 or 5 minutes.
First points for Yarbrough the second half. A lane violation against Connecticut. Vincent Van Bro. Just under 15 points a game to lead his team. Leads in rebounds 7+. Leads in steals. He's a terrific talent and only a sophomore. A young kid. He's 18 years of age from Cleveland, Tennessee. 44-34. UConn. Look at this pressure backcourt. They finally break it. Wren didn't go entirely into the offensive end, so no over and back violation. Look at the pressure by Tennessee against this undermanned ball control Connecticut 5. And the fans like it as Mooring guns. Every shot just so critical as Slay rips down the rebound.
There is nowhere to go for Connecticut. They're only passing the ball around the three-point line. They're out of sync. Bosco not demanding the ball. Kevin Freeman not really demanding the offensive. They miss Elamine.
And the foul on Voskuhl as he bumps C.J. Black. That'll be the 6th team foul on Connecticut, but more importantly the 4th on Voskuhl. And Suleiman Wan returns for Connecticut, as does Marcus Cox, the freshman from Bridgeport. He'll replace Doug Wren. So Voskuhl and Wren out, and another freshman on the court for UConn.
Coaches who have to change their strategy at this time of the year. Cincinnati without Kenyon Martin had to go to another strategy, and Without El-Amin, Calhoun is just coaching spontaneously with different combinations, trying to utilize whatever he has on the bench.
Inside and out of bounds off C.J. Black. Is Harris Walker a bit too fine with that bounce pass?
Sometimes you have to take one or two more dribbles toward that baseline when a big guy has a player sealed in there to solidify that pass in there. You try to make it from the wrong angle, it's very difficult to handle.
Officials giving C.J. Black some time to relace his shoes. Tony Robertson now. This is a 2-on-1 break. Comes up well short and elbowed that one up there.
Big difference between pure execution and desperation. Connecticut not executing, but putting up some random shots out of desperation.
Plenty of time, 8.5 left, but Tennessee with a sizable 10-point advantage. And it's slapped away by Marcus Cox. It was clean. Higgins throws it up there, and Juan rebounds. Almost turned over by Cox, who took his eyes off the ball. So Robertson and Cox, two freshmen. Cox fires. Rebound by Higgins of Tennessee.
Connecticut has a very strong player in Freeman in the post. Suleiman Juan can shoot the jump hooks, but they are in no offense right now, settling for the perimeter shots.
Almost turned over, but Yarbrough in the right place at the right time. Nice pass. Black is fouled. And it appeared to be Kevin Freeman, and if it is, that's his fourth. No, they're going to whistle it on Juan, and that'll be his first. Send C.J. Black to the line for a pair, trying to add to that 10-point volunteer lead.
And it's not that Tennessee is executing any better, but at least they're more aggressive in taking the ball to the paint, trying to get to the line, and they are getting some interior passes by making the defense collapse.
Yarbrough goes out, and Tony Harris returns for Tennessee, and El-Amin is back in for Connecticut, and a final move for the playmaking star of the Huskies. This is his fourth time in the game.
Very frustrating, Dick, when you have that injury and you're trying to play through it.
46-34, a timeout in Birmingham. 7:39 left. Well, the Siberian Husky has been ice cold here the last nearly 5 minutes without a field goal after UConn had pulled to within 4 points at 38-34. Haven't scored since, and Tennessee with a 12-point lead. And Jim Calhoun is, what do you do when you lose the man who makes it all happen? El-Amin. He's back in trying again. 8-0 run for the Volunteers, who are 7 minutes 39 seconds away from making it to the Sweet 16 and a date Friday night in Austin, Texas, against the surprising North Carolina Tar Heels.
This will be the last run for Connecticut. I do believe they must get Freeman and Morin involved. Get the ball inside. There he is. Strong player, unstoppable almost.
Yes, up with a jump hook and the left hand. The offhand for Freeman, his 6th point. And that ends the drought. It's a 10-point game, Tennessee. Inside to Slay. Oh, he is a good-looking young player, this freshman from Nashville. Ron Slay has 4.
Yeah, he's got the wristband on both arms, up the middle of the arm, headband, knee brace, but he has soft hands in the post.
Back into Freeman. And he loses it out of bounds, and Slay's defense forced the turnover.
Well, they ran a nice pick for Slay, and watch him take it to the middle first and then back to the baseline over Juan. Soft hands. Slay, I really love.
Harris Walker assuming the role of the point guard here in the late going for Tennessee.
Nice pick by Slay.
Oh, very nicely done. The pass from Higgins, and in midair, Walker able to twist and make his first basket of the game, and the Tennessee fans love it. Their team is ahead by 14.
We've seen Slay on the offensive end, but look at him set the pick for Walker to come to the ball. Slay doing it all for Tennessee. Look at the back pick. Little rub, no help. Nice move by Walker. Slay effective on the offensive end, but also effective setting the back pick.
And what was interesting, James Worthy, about that play, it involved 3 men, all freshmen: John Higgins, Harris Walker, and Ron Slay, all back for their careers at Tennessee. The Tennessee Volunteers are 6.5 minutes away from the Sweet 16. They have a commanding 14-point lead against the defending national champions, the UConn Huskies, playing basically without Khalid El-Amin. He's back on the bench. He's tried 4 different times to come in. Mooring for 3, not there. Freeman keeps it alive. Juan with a rainbow shot. Suleiman Juan with 8. It's a 12-point Tennessee advantage.
And even though Suleiman Juan is not a dominant offensive player, neither is Freeman. You must try to get the ball inside, if anything, to try to get a foul and get to the line.
Slay with Vosco playing with 4 fouls. Slay can't get inside. 15 on the shot clock. Jerry Green's Volunteers looking for a trip to Austin, Texas, and a date with North Carolina on Friday night. Higgins way off the mark. And a hold is going to be called as Connecticut, I believe it was Juan, trying to stop the Tennessee player from getting to that ball in the corner. It's his second.
What happened is Juan got sealed under the net. The ball came off long. He tried to hold Slay from going to get the loose ball.
8th team foul in Connecticut, and this is a reflection of the loss of El-Amin. Only 3 team fouls on Tennessee because most of the play's been outside.
1-1.
Ron Slay. Now with 5 points, Slay, whose basketball training came from his mother, who played collegiate ball at the University of Chattanooga and actually played professionally overseas, and she is his #1 critic. They talk the game when they're around the dinner table. His free throw form perfect on that pair, and Tennessee back in front by 4. 14, 52-38.
One thing about Connecticut is they've only been to the line twice, 1 of 2, and that is a big part of their game when El-Amin is in the game. There's Vosco. They need that.
And the block by Yarbrough, and out of bounds off one, and the fans love the play of Vincent Yarbrough, the brilliant sophomore, and Slay, the cheerleader.
Well, Vosco only 2 points in this afternoon's game. He had to know that he had to step up offensively with El-Amin injured. Good offensive board work, but better shot blocking abilities. Get it out of there.
Yarbrough at 6'7", 18-year-old from Cleveland, Tennessee. The sophomore was an all-freshman team member in the conference a year ago and was 2nd team All-SEC this year. Grinding down Tennessee, less than 5. Putting that 14-point lead in the oven, trying to use up as much of the 35 seconds as they can. A great pass inside by Ron Slay to set up C.J. Black.
He got the little dish move going. You got to show me the dish move. Good interior passing by Slay. I tell you what, I can watch this guy play. Look at the little dish pass inside, and then he goes down court with the dish dance.
The lowest total for UConn all year was 57 points against Miami, and they've scored but 38 without Khalid El-Amin. Tennessee with a 16-point lead, and our CBSSportsline.com stat shows Tennessee with 13 assists, and Connecticut in an entire game without El-Amin with only 3. Managed 3 points and an assist, couple of rebounds in his 14.5 limping minutes.
Tennessee had a hard time pulling away until Jerry Green took Harris out. That's a one-hand the ball. Walker in particular. Then they were able to execute and get some high percentage shots.
Freeman off the window, 54-40. 8 points for him. Slay is fouled by Bo Archibald, number 5, just into the game. The junior from Provo, Utah, was a freshman at Washington State, matriculating up in Pullman, and then went cross country to Connecticut. His dad, Lynn, was the former head coach at Utah. He goes out, and Doug Wren in. He's a good outside shooter, and that's why Calhoun, now running out of time, needs threes. And Slay revisits the line for Tennessee.
Unfortunately for Connecticut, they had a sense of desperation in the first half. Never really got in sync on the offensive end. Took a lot of random shots. Couldn't find mooring.
Robertson trying to go coast to coast. No basket. And when they do get a shot to fall, it's not allowed. The foul out on the floor. Tony Harris. So that means nothing with only 3 fouls on Harris and only the 4th team foul on Tennessee. Connecticut will have to play it from the baseline. Trailing by 14, 4 to go. And that leaner by Mooring not there. The tip. And Tennessee comes out with it. On the run is Harris. And the prudent thing to do is to pull it back out, use the clock. Still 15 seconds. It's just, you can just see Harris. He wants so desperately to shoot the ball.
And he's going to get a lot better at that because he's a little bit out of control sometimes. But with the quickness, he always feels like he could take his man at will, but he must remember he's got to go into the rest of the teeth of the defense.
Tony Robertson with his 4th foul, the freshman guard for Connecticut, and Archibald about to come back in for UConn as Tony Harris visits the line.
Number 14.
He has 11 points in the game, 2 for 4 from the stripe. Yarbrough leads the Vols with 14. C.J. Black and this man Harris with 11 each. Make it 12, and for UConn, only man in double figures, Albert Mooring with 14. So Archibald in and run out. As Tennessee with its largest lead, 56 to 40, 16-point lead. They're going to be playing Rocky Top in Knoxville. We're back in Birmingham with a reminder tonight on CBS. Lead it off with 60 minutes, followed by a powerful all-new Touch by an Angel. Then Oscar winner Louis Gossett Jr. and Jenna Rolenstar in The Color of Love. JC's Story. It's all tonight. A terrific lineup on CBS. Tennessee. They're ready to let it roar here in Birmingham with a 16-point lead and looking ahead to Austin, Texas, and a Sweet 16 date with the University of North Carolina, who upset number 1 seed Stanford earlier. Mooring offline, out of bounds, last touch by Ron Slay of Tennessee.
Tennessee known as a team that plays in big games. They really haven't played that consistent here, but coming up against North Carolina, they will be challenged.
I thought that was a terrific effort by the Tar Heels today. Freeman hits from outside. I mean, it was a case where Bill Guthridge could say, you don't think I can coach? Look at the film of this game, the way we beat Stanford. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Birmingham, everyone. Tennessee enjoying a 14-point lead over UConn. You know, it's funny. Coach Green did something before this team came here to this tournament. What he did, he invited Philip Fulmer, who has a national title to his credit. He also invited legendary basketball coach Pat Summitt to talk to the team. In the end, it could pay off big, and that means they'd have to change their name to Titletown.
Now, Pat Summitt, boy, she is some terrific coach for the women's side. A timeout is called by Ron Slay. Couldn't get the ball in bounds. And we'll use it to take this commercial break. 3:15 left, and Tennessee by a couple of touchdowns. Jerry Green, who coached at UNC Asheville, Oregon, and now his 3rd year at Tennessee. Now, coach is a very special title, and anyone who's ever played at any level of athletics, they were like second fathers. And his coach back in his native town of Star Tech, South Carolina. He was already at work in the cotton mills there in town with his mother and father employed there as well. And his coach came up one day and said, I'm not going to let you work. I'm going to make you go to junior college. He did, and changed the whole course of this man's life. Now one of the top coaches in college basketball.
Lesson in disguise. I got a chance to see Coach Green early myself. He coached Sleepy Floyd, who played at Georgetown in Gastonia, North Carolina, and was my arch rival coach. They beat us for state championship back in 1977.
He knows his way around the edgy moments too. A terrific billiards player. Frequent visitor to the old Star Tech billiard hall in his day, and so you figure that he's not going to let this one get away. Down to 2 seconds, and Harris can't hit the jumper, but they consume the clock. Here comes Freeman for Connecticut to rim. The freshman drives and trickles it off the rim, and a foul.
Now this is what Connecticut should have been doing from the very start of the game, knowing that Elamine was not available 100%. They should have been attacking the basket because now they're getting the fouls that they needed to get earlier in the ballgame.
Elamine watches as Vincent Yarbrough is ticketed with his 3rd foul, and veteran Kevin Freeman goes to the line. Freeman in his 87th consecutive start at Connecticut. He has played in more games than any Husky player ever. 139 plus this one, 140 games in his 4-year career. And from the cradle of college basketball, Springfield, Massachusetts.
After Hamilton left last year, the great scorer for UConn, Freeman kind of felt like he had to take on that role, which really isn't his game. He can score, and I think once Calhoun talked to him and told him to just relax and play his game, he started to produce a little better.
Tennessee with a 12-point lead, 2.5 to go. Slay doing a good job of extricating himself from trouble. And Black's left alone for the easy 2, and that's the gamble Connecticut has to take. 13 for Black.
Black is looking at his teammates. He said, look, guys, I was down there for about 15 seconds before you saw me. Finally gets it.
Knocked into the backcourt by Slay. Oh, he's deceptively quick.
Which I'm starting to wonder how it's going to be for Slay and Black against Haywood and Lang, because you're right. Slay is tricky, savvy, and quick hand.
Well, it certainly has outplayed the man who starts in front of him, Isaiah Victor, and testing Jerry Green's ability to stay with him. And Harris and Wren with a little extra after that foul, the 2nd on Wren. 1:40 left, and not much left in the hopes of the Connecticut tank. Khaled Elamine, you just can't go without a superstar and expect to have a top performance. And Jim Calhoun knew that one hand was tied behind his back before this game began.
Well, injuries play such a big role in sports, and they're so unexpected, and it's just bad time to have injuries to keep players. Of course, we saw Kenyon Martin go down in Cincinnati, Elamine in Connecticut.
He has another year left, the Minneapolis, Minnesota junior. Harris hits both, back to a 14-point advantage. Harris with 15 in the game. Robertson loses the handle again. Tennessee with the ball.
And that's been the story the whole afternoon for Tennessee.
Freeman had it for a moment. And the foul as Archibald came up to stop Harris, and we're down to 125. And I guess as Tennessee stands to cheer, we can talk about James Worthy. What do you think of the matchup, Tennessee, North Carolina, Friday night?
Well, I think inside, North Carolina has the advantage with Chris Lang and particularly Haywood. They really have gotten the ball over the top to Haywood. I think Tony Harris will have an equal matchup with Ed Cota at the point guard. Forte maybe against Yarborough, but I'm sorry, Jason Capel against Yarborough. Pretty evenly matchup.
Well, in their series, Carolina leads 5-1, but they haven't played since just after World War II. So that'll be an interesting meeting down in Austin, Texas. Harris 1 out of 2. 61-46. And now for Tennessee, the key is not to foul. Mooring takes it in. And it's out of bounds to Tennessee with 1:13 left. And in comes Doug. Check that, Marcus Cox for Connecticut.
Another thing very interesting for Jerry Green is while he was a high school coach in Gastonia, North Carolina, he spent many summers at Coach Smith's basketball camp and is very close friends with both Coach Smith and Coach Guttridge. So he knows the Carolina system, as did Quinn Snyder for Missouri.
Mooring with the foul, stops the clock at 1:07, and our Chevrolet Most Valuable Players are Albert Mooring. As much as he could offer, 14 to lead Connecticut, the only man in double figures until Kevin Freeman has come up with 14 with his points late in this game. And Vincent Yarbrough, spectacular both ends of the court, 14 for Tennessee. It's going to be interesting to follow the growth of that sophomore. Harris hits another free throw, and some frosting on the Tennessee cake.
Yarbrough very agile, has a great body for basketball.
Kevin Freeman, excuse me, James Worthy, walking off the court, his final game for Connecticut. Played in more games than anyone in the history of the school in Storrs, Connecticut, and the fans who know that behind us give him a standing ovation.
Has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Had a great career, walked away with a national championship last year. A great young man. It's a sad day, not only because he's not going to be playing any more college basketball, but it's a tough day to leave college. What fun part of your life.
1 minute to go, and the University of Tennessee just chewing up as much as the clock, and Connecticut not that serious defensively. As throwing it down was Ron Slay, and just as he scored 15 Friday night, he comes back with 15 here.
Gives me a little wink as he passes by.
Robertson too little too late, driving the lane. Those weren't fouling the first 35 minutes of the game. 34 seconds to go. Tennessee celebrating. Connecticut stunned on their bench, and Kevin Freeman and Khalid El-Amin commiserating on what a difficult day this was for UConn. But Tennessee, one of the 4 Southeastern Conference champions, able to have the right stuff here in Birmingham. That one violates the shot clock, and the final 5 seconds will belong to Connecticut. And it feels much stronger, and it goes deeper when you know how great it is to go all the way.
You got one extra game to play. You got preparation.
Last shot of the game, Albert Mooring. And the final score will read Tennessee 65. UConn with its lowest point total of the season, 51. Khalid El-Amin tried to go and could not play at 100% level, and without him it was a different basketball team. So here's our bracket in the South region as we go to Austin, Texas on Friday night. It'll be the Tennessee Volunteers against the University of North Carolina. Tulsa has won its game and will wait the Miami Ohio State encounter to see who their opponent will be, and Miami leads in that one. And Jerry Green thanks the spectators, the Vols, for the first time in history have won 2 games in the tournament. So for James Worthy and Spencer Tillman, this is Dick Enberg. So long from Birmingham. The final again, 65-51. Right now, let's check in with Greg Gumbel and Clark Kellogg in New York.